What's going on, everybody? Thank you for listening to the sports page here on the Peak One Sports Network. I'm your host, Ashton and Chris. Here with me, as always, is Chris Robb Jr. What's going on, Chris?
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How you doing? I just asked you that.
Doing good. It's a lot of sports to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah, a lot of sports to watch. So that's always great. Yeah.
yeah. No, obviously we have the tournament coming up, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. We're also going to talk
hmm
Cowboys, all those moves that all of a sudden started happening. We thought here a couple of days ago that the Cowboys aren't doing anything. They're not making trades. They're not signing free agents. I guess still they're technically not signing any free agents, but they've made a few moves. We'll go over, but I mean, how crazy has the last few days been just in sports? I know we've been waiting
And
for
it's been insane. Just everybody just right.
Yeah, we've been waiting for this Aaron Rodgers news, which is pretty much sounds like it's a done deal, but not quite. They're trying to work something out with the Jets.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen with that. I know Aaron Rodgers is asking a lot of the Jets to sign a bunch of players, trade for a bunch of players, uh, to I guess make
Yeah.
him happy in New York, and then see if they can get a trade for Aaron. But let's talk about some of these Cowboys moves. Started breaking here. Um, I guess yesterday when they traded for Stephon Gilmore. Um, I think it's a good move. It's a definite upgrade. Would have rather had him a couple years ago when there were rumors of Gilmore coming to the Cowboys, but it's for a fifth round
Right.
pick.
Right.
It's for a fifth round pick. What do you can't complain a lot. I think the upside is very high. Not a whole lot of downside. I mean, moving him there, I think he's an upgrade for Anthony Brown.
Yeah, definitely. He's arguably been one of the best corners in well, not arguably one of the best, definitely one of the best corners in the league for the past probably 6 or 7. Like he's been like at the top two, top three, top four for the longest, and he's definitely upgrade. Him and Diggs. I think that'll be a good look, especially with the front seven that they have. So um, I'm actually excited. This might be the biggest. I guess maybe it's like I don't want to compare it to like T.O. trade or anything like that, but that's a big pickup. That's one of the bigger names that they've brought in. Um, and he has some. I think he has some gas left in his tank for sure.
Yeah, but like I said, we only gave up a fifth round pick for him, so very low risk, possible high reward there.
hmm
Um,
hmm
re-signing Leighton Vander Esch was another thing. So basically, this defense has all the same weapons. Plus, you add Stephon Gilmore.
hmm
So hopefully,
Yeah.
I mean, if you were gonna pick out what the biggest hole in this Cowboys defense was, it was definitely quarterback. So they
Yeah.
definitely did a good job filling that with what was on the market. I know uh,
hmm
he may not be the best corner that was on the market, but for what you had to give up for him and what you're going to pay, it's definitely a good move. The
Yeah.
Cowboys
Yeah.
also today released Ezekiel Elliott. I think that was a
Man.
move that a lot of
Yeah.
people wanted to see, and we all thought was coming.
hmm
Frees up a lot of space. As much as I like Zeke, I agree with the move. He's been going
Yeah.
downhill ever
Me
since
too.
his rookie year. He had uh, potentially a Hall of Fame rookie and maybe half a season after that in his second year.
hmm
Pretty good third year, and then it started going downhill from there. I think
Yeah.
he's still an effective back if he's not running more
Yeah.
than
Me
10
too.
times a game, but you couldn't keep him for the money uh, he was making. I don't know if they can now re-sign him, or if I mean if they want to re-sign him for lower deal. I think they would have just restructured his contract a little bit and
hmm
paid him less money if that was the plan. But we'll see what happens for Zeke. Do you see any potential suitors for Ezekiel Elliott to sign him? I know it's pretty early on right now, and he just
Yeah.
got released, but we'll see.
Um, I feel like he'll get picked up. I don't want to say relatively quickly, but he like like you said before, he's not a bad running back. Even present day, he's still an effective running back. Um, he's been one of the top three running backs since 2016 since he came into the league, top three or four. Uh, I know he's not the same as what he was in 2016, but I think some team will try to give him a shot, give him a chance, and he probably, he'll probably be effective somewhere else. I don't really see the Cowboys, re-signing him, but it was such a shocker. Like you knew that he was like wasn't coming back, but he's been on the team so long, and you just assume, just Zeke and would just be back. But knowing you would assume that he was gonna get cut, but when it finally happens, it's like, oh, like dang, Zeke's not on the team anymore. So
Yeah,
like it's yeah. So we'll see. I know a lot of people were trying to suit for the Bears.
I heard Broncos might
Some
be a
team
landing
like that.
spot for him.
Broncos. Yeah, I heard the Broncos and the Bears. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think somebody's going to give him a shot. Just kick the tires and see what what he's made of. I
Hmm.
don't see him getting uh, a big contract. Uh, yeah, obviously, last week the Cowboys placed the franchise tag on Tony Pollard. That's why we thought, okay, Zeke's
Hmm.
definitely going to be out. Um, I know it's still pretty early because the draft isn't until next month, and I don't know if the Cowboys could make this move. He'd have to fall. I think he had to fall pretty far because I have him going earlier in the first round. But what do you think of replacing Zeke with Bijan Robinson?
Oh, I was just about to say you must be talking about Bijan.
Yeah,
That would be incredible. He can do it all. He's almost like Zeke was when he came out of Ohio State. He's a big home run hitter. I feel like he's a good pass protector as well, which Zeke was. And I'm actually kind of nervous at that aspect. Um, moving forward because Tony Pollard's not the best pass protector. So, um, we'll see. We'll see. Tony really has to step up. But if we get Bijan Robinson, which I doubt he'll slip that far, but if they were to replace him, that'd be incredible.
yeah. I was just checking my draft notes, and research. I have him going 23 to
Hmm.
Minnesota. If he,
Yeah,
I know the running back position's kind of going downhill, and I'd hesitate drafting a
yeah, I
running
was
back
just
in the
saying
first round, especially since I think you need to go receiver. I think your defense is pretty set right now, given I know the defense struggled in the second half of the season last year, but they were dominant in the first half. You had Stephon
that. Hmm.
Gilmore. I think you're set at defense. Maybe later in the draft, go for depth. Maybe draft an interior D line tackle. Um, I would
Yeah.
not be against it because Bijan seems like you said, Ezekiel Elliott type, where he's going to be a lot of firepower for some offense. He's not just another running back. He may only
Hmm.
last 4 or 5 years
Yeah.
like Zeke did. But the Cowboys did use Zeke a lot because he was very effective. Um, Honestly, he would not be
Yeah.
my first pick. But then again, I had the Cowboys going corner in the first round, and it looks like they're probably not going to go that
And
direction now.
with
Um,
Stephon, yeah,
yeah,
no,
so if
yeah.
he drops, I wouldn't be mad if they picked him up, because you could also pass to him out of the backfield. I think he'd be an effective
Hmm.
blocker. Putting him with Tony Pollard would be great, a great team up. Because
Hmm.
I don't know that I'm sold on Tony Pollard being the main running back. I think you need to change a pace running
Hmm.
back to team up with Tony.
Yeah, me too.
Um,
Yeah.
I just don't know. I don't know that a receiver would be the best route depending on who's there at one. But we'll definitely talk more draft coverage closer to the draft because there's still a lot of pieces that has to fall with other teams, and more mock drafts are going to come out. Some other moves
Yeah,
Cowboys
I was
made
just looking at that there.
to get cap room. They restructured Tyron Smith's contract, so he's going to return. Um, we'll see how many games he could play. He's one of those. He's been with the Cowboys so long. I would hate to see them cut him, but I thought he was going to be a cap casualty. I thought they were going to let him go. Now that you have Tyler
Yeah.
Smith playing pretty effective, but I'm glad he's still on the team. You know, Tyron Smith restructured his contract, so it's a little bit less of a hit. And who knows? Maybe
Hmm.
he could stay healthy for 10, 12 games or so. I know that's asking a lot of him, but
And
if you could have him,
that's yeah. About to
yeah, that's
say
asking
yeah.
a lot. I mean, he's not making near as much money as he was, so I don't know, 6, 7, 8 games would it's something for him,
Yeah.
and I like it that he's there to kind of mold Tyler Smith a little more. You have him for another
Hmm.
season. I don't know what the offensive line is going to look like, especially if Tyron Smith is healthy, because like we saw last year, I don't when he came back at right tackle, it just didn't look right. That could just be
Hmm.
him getting back into the groove of things. It may not necessarily have anything to do with right tackle, but um, maybe having the two T Smiths on tackles, maybe that'll help the Cowboys this year. Because I wouldn't say it was a big issue. There wasn't a whole lot of holding calls. Um, you can pick a game here or there where Dak just didn't have a lot of time to throw, but I think overall it was a pretty
Hmm.
decent season for this offensive line, and hopefully they can make it better.
Yeah. Yeah. It was probably like a C plus year. Like it wasn't incredible, but it wasn't like they weren't the worst. They weren't like Cincinnati,
Yeah.
like giving up sack all left and right. So like um, yeah, that's a good move. I've always liked Tyron, even though he never really plays. When he does, he's one of the best. But
Yeah.
it's just always like every time you watch, you're like, oh, is this the game? Ankle or shoulder or something. Like is this the game? So, I guess we'll see. But I'm glad he was able to reconstruct, and I'm glad he was able to get re-signed. So,
And they also restructured Demarcus Lawrence's contract. I don't know what they're planning on
mhm,
doing with a lot of this. I haven't seen a cap number where they're at right now. Um, I know a lot of people thought maybe they go after Odell Beckham, maybe they trade for DeAndre Hopkins, which I know now that they don't have to draft a corner, maybe they get rid of that first round pick and get Hopkins. Um,
yeah, yeah. The
that
Cowboys are what? They're 27,
26, they have the 26th pick. Um,
26. Oh, okay.
yeah, and I assume I think you could get him for one pick, and I don't know what else you'd have to trade for him. But I
Yeah.
know they're trying to clear some cap space because you have to re-sign CD Lamb coming up here pretty soon.
Hmm.
And you
Yeah.
definitely, I mean, definitely don't want after you already got rid of Amari Cooper and saw what that did to the offense. CD Lamb definitely had a great year, and you don't want to get rid of CD Lamb. You just pay him
Right.
whatever
Yeah.
whatever it takes.
Yeah. I saw some mock drafts say that they were trying to. Well, they had receivers falling to the Cowboys. They had the receiver out of Ohio State, Jackson Smith,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then they had Josh Downs from North Carolina. I like both of them. I really like Jackson. Uh, I've been watching him since high school, so I used to go to their games all the time, and he's incredible. So um, we'll see. He'd be a good number two receiver for sure. But we'll see. Maybe they can pick up a D Hop or something like that with that first round if they were to choose that route.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have to say at this point. I know we still have the draft to go, and free agency isn't over, but at this point, the Dallas defense is, I'd say it's upgraded with Stephon Gilmore. I know there's a lot of
Hmm.
naysayers like, hey, he's old, but uh, like I said, if we could have got him a few years ago, but the price would have been a lot higher. But it's a definite
Hmm.
upgrade, so it's hard to say that this Dallas defense isn't going to be at least what it was last year. And I think that's enough to ask for. Um, you don't need the defense to necessarily get better. You need the offense to get better. And I think it's
Hmm.
looking more likely whoever they draft with the 26th pick, it's probably going to be an offensive player.
Oh yeah, yeah, I think so too. I think they should go offense. The defense showed what they were capable of. Offense had some up and down moments all year, so Yeah, that would be good. I would be a fan of them picking like a if Bijan were to fall, that'd be cool. That'd be dope. But as far as I think receiver is probably probably the biggest hole.
Yeah, I
I know
agree
some people
right
would say
now.
quarterback. Yeah. Some people say quarterback. I don't say quarterback. But
Uh, and I
I
can
think a
understand
number
where they're
two
coming
receiver
from.
would be dope.
I can understand where they're
Hmm.
coming from, but you're not going to have. If you look at other teams, and I know we like to hold the Cowboys up to this higher standard, but you look at other teams.
Hmm.
Um, Look where Minnesota is. Look where
Right.
Washington is. Look at all these teams that don't have a quarterback. They haven't had a quarterback in a long time, and we've talked about it before. Dak Prescott at his best today is probably sixth or seventh best quarterback in the league. At his worst,
Hmm.
maybe 15th, but I think overall he's 10th or 11th there.
Yeah.
He did throw interceptions
Yeah.
last year, which was uncharacteristic of him.
For sure.
Um, but you have a quarterback that's good enough to win. Now whether his cap number,
Hmm.
I know
Yeah.
we all know what the statistics are on cap numbers and the certain percentage. And Patrick Mahomes is the first quarterback uh, in the NFL to win a Super
Hmm.
Bowl when he had over I think 13% of the cap. Uh, Maybe
Hmm.
Dak's not worth what he's getting paid. Uh, Although his cap hits getting less and less each year, not from a numerical standpoint, but just from Um, we live in a different world. Daniel Jones just got $40 million. $40 million isn't the same what it
Yeah.
was a couple years ago. You can argue all day long
Right.
about that. The fact of the matter is, you can't get rid of him, especially after they just restructured his contract. He's going to be here at least 3 more seasons. He has to be, unless I mean, you can't do anything with him. You can get rid of him, but you can't bring anybody else in. It's just too much dead money. Um, I'm a big
Hmm.
fan of when you draft rookie quarterbacks, go all out then because you have that rookie contract. And then eventually you're going to have to pay him if he's any good. If you went and drafted a quarterback now, traded
Yeah.
Dak to whatever, you would you wouldn't be able to benefit from that rookie contract anyways because Dak's cap number would be screwing you over for years to come. So that's what I
Hmm.
look at it. Sure, the Cowboys could upgrade. I'm not convinced that they can't get a quarterback in this draft that might turn into an upgrade over Dak. But it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
There's no reason to have that conversation. Let's have that conversation in 3 years if we want to.
Yeah. Right.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's no way
Right.
because Dallas has a team that's right there on the precipice of competing for a Super Bowl. They may already be
Yeah.
there.
Definitely.
You saw flashes
Yeah. No
last year
doubt.
of
I think
talent.
so. Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
if Dak can protect the ball and be an above average quarterback like he has been most of his career, and you stay
Hmm.
relatively healthy, your defense is balling out like they did last year, uh, they have a shot. There's no reason to blow it up at quarterback, not be able to do anything because who are you going to replace Dak with? You can't pay anybody. You'd have to draft somebody.
Right.
Uh, you don't have a draft pick good enough to pick somebody who would their rookie season do better than Dak. You
Yeah.
could
True.
develop. I'm not against. I know there's rumors of Hendon Hooker, which you could draft third round maybe. I've seen some
Hmm.
mock drafts or some analysts say he's going in the second round. I did see a mock draft where he went in the first round, which I think is way too high for him. But draft Hendon Hooker,
Hmm.
let him develop a couple of years, take over Dak if he wants, and um, if you want that,
I like Hendon
just
Hooker. Yeah.
as a competent backup, because clearly Dak's had health issues the last couple of years.
Yeah. I like it. I like Hendon Hooker for sure. Yeah. He's definitely a good player. So yeah, I definitely agree. I agree.
Yeah, see, people call me a Dak homer, Dak lover. I'm not, but these Dak haters are making me rant and sound
Yeah.
like I'm
It's
all
more.
Dak.
Yeah.
Dak's a good
It's
quarterback.
it's
There's no
yeah. He's a good
if
quarterback. Yeah.
we had issues with the defense, if we weren't there, we were just an above average team with no shot at making the Super Bowl. Sure, let's blow it up and see what happens. Be crappy for a
Hmm.
couple of years, but they have a pretty solid team. And I think with what you have with Dan Quinn still being your defensive coordinator, you have a lot of players in their primes. I mean, how long is Demarcus Lawrence going to be close to what he is? He's not quite elite, but he's still very effective. Um, we got to see. You have to pay CeeDee Lamb. You have to pay Micah Parsons. I think
Hmm.
it's gonna get pretty difficult to compete here in the next. few years. I think you have a window of this year, next year for uh, to win a Super Bowl, depending on. I mean, I don't know if you draft another Micah Parsons or CD Lamb. Who knows?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, for sure.
we all know it's March. Chris, did you fill out a bracket? How many brackets did you fill out if you did?
Um, I halfway filled out one. I I picked my final four, but I didn't fill it out all the way. I just kind of picked, like the final four who I felt would make a run. And then I picked a couple sleeper teams. Well, really one. I really have one sleeper team. So, but I just picked my final four. I actually was gonna post it on the page
Yeah.
today. But
Well, if you're gonna post that, then
uh,
don't you don't have to ruin it. Although by the time, I mean, I'm gonna
oh
post
no,
this as
it's
soon as
fine.
we're done.
Yeah, no, yeah, it'll be after this. Yeah. So, uh, should I say it or no?
You don't have to. I'll. How about I say mine
Okay.
and you just kind of tell me what you think,
Okay.
whether
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
do it or
yeah.
not.
And then I'll tell my sleeper team. I have a sleeper team. I don't have one to the bottom four, but I feel like they're gonna bust a couple brackets. So, but yeah, go ahead.
See, I like sleeper teams, and I have a couple, but I didn't pick them uh,
Hmm.
because every year in my bracket, I'm in a paid deal with some guys I used to work with, and I'm always there
Hmm.
like the top three or four. Um, and last year, North Carolina screwed me. Not that I had
Oh
them
man,
winning the
yeah.
championship, but I had Kansas
Hmm.
losing, and the other guy that beat me had Kansas winning. So
Hmm.
if
Oh,
you
I
don't know,
remember
I'm a
that.
Duke
Whenever I
fan.
remember when we talked about that.
Yeah, I'm a Duke fan. I hate
Right.
North
Yeah.
Carolina anyways. And then I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm cheering for North Carolina. They already beat Duke. Uh, so
Hmm.
I think I have a pretty safe bracket. I'll just tell
Hmm.
you real quick some of the upsets that I did pick. If I could get it,
Hmm.
try to look on my phone. No, I didn't print it out. This is the 21st. Well, this is 2023. Come on. I had Charleston beating San Diego State. Uh, that's probably my biggest upset. I have Utah State beating Missouri. And then I have a lot of
Yeah. I don't
nines
really like
beating
Missouri.
eights.
Yeah. 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 I
And then
have
USC. Yeah, and I have USC winning. But my final four, I have Alabama, Marquette, Houston, and Kansas, with Houston beating Alabama in the
oh
finals.
wow, Marquette. Yeah, that's a good team. So you said Marquette and who was the other three?
Alabama,
Hmm.
Houston, and Kansas. I'm a little worried about Kansas. It was hard to pick
Yeah, me too.
against them. I don't believe in Gonzaga. I have them beating Gonzaga. They're playing VCU. I have them beating VCU. In
Hmm.
Arkansas, it's hard to pick against Kansas. I know they're having health issues with their coach. Uh,
Hmm.
they just lost to Texas twice in the last couple weeks. Although Texas is a good team, um,
Hmm.
but yeah, I have that's my final four, and I have Houston beating Alabama. I suspect that's what a lot of people have in their brackets.
Yeah,
So to win, I'm gonna really
yeah,
need to clean house on the first couple of rounds.
yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, I had a couple of those upsets as well. I have Iona busting that West bracket though. I don't know. It's just something about that team. Not the West bracket. Sorry, the bracket with Kansas in it. Yeah. So they're they're really good and they're well coached, and I feel like they could probably make some noise. And it's kind of like just a kind of a reach, but I think they could beat UConn, and then I think they could beat the winner of the same area as VCU. So we'll see about them. But yeah, Houston. How do you like Purdue?
What do
I
I?
I watched the 5 games of theirs. They have what's his name Zach
Yeah, they were ranked
Edey.
number one there for a while. Um,
Hmm. Yeah,
I remember then they lost to
yeah.
Indiana. I remember
Mhm.
watching that game. Let me jump in here. I don't know. It's a lot of teams. I got to go in. Yes,
Yeah,
I know people are like, you should have your bracket. You should know your bracket. I fill out a couple of different
it's a
ones,
lot.
so it's hard to know which one
Hmm.
which one I'm dealing with. I think I have Purdue in the Sweet 16 in one of my brackets if I could find them.
Yeah,
So yeah, I have
I think they
Purdue,
probably
Purdue,
lose to
Purdue.
Duke.
I have Purdue losing to Duke, yeah,
Oh
and Duke
yeah, I
going
think
to
yeah,
Elite
I have
Eight, yeah.
Purdue losing to Duke. Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Duke is one of those sleepers because they seemed, um, it seemed like they were definitely a downgrade from last year's team. John
Hmm.
Shire being first year coach, they lost a lot of talent. And how many first round picks uh, were
Right.
drafted from Duke last year? So, but
Uh,
they made a
yeah.
run in the ACC
Wow.
tournament. I think they've won 9 straight games. I don't remember if it's 7 or 9. They
Hmm.
went undefeated at home. I know that doesn't necessarily help you in the tournament, but it is
Yeah.
pretty
Well,
significant.
and it's Duke. They have one of the bigger fan bases in the country, so they'll travel well. So you know, just they're I like Duke. They got hot at the right time, and it's Duke. They're always gonna be respected everywhere they go. They also always get everybody's best shot. So that'll be a good team. That's definitely a team to watch.
Yeah. I think Texas
Mhm.
can make a run as well. I'm kind of
Me too.
excited if
Yeah,
Texas and
me too.
A&M win in their first round. It's Texas A&M in the second round. That's going to be a fun matchup as
That'd be
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I
So
like.
you don't have to give away your final four, but who do you have winning the whole thing? If you want to go that
Um,
far, maybe you don't want to give that up either.
I can't. Yeah. Well, I have it. It's two scenarios. I'll give one. I think in one of my brackets. Well, I feel like two brackets halfway. I had Texas winning one, but I had Houston winning another one.
I like it.
So yeah,
Yeah, I
that's
can
it.
see either of
Yeah.
those teams winning. Usually I
Hmm.
do pretty good picking the final four. Usually I have about 3 teams, but like I said, for some
Yeah.
reason, I finished
I sound
second
like a
the
homer.
last couple of years.
Yeah. Yeah. I sound like a homer, but yeah, I think Houston's a really good team, and then Texas as well. So
All right, guys. Well, comment us your picks. You can follow us on social media at Sports Radio. Follow Peak One Sports at Peak One Sports. Until next time, I'm Ashton here with Chris. See y'all later.
all right, see you guys.